All right, welcome to the latest edition of the FPL America podcast. This is David Smith.
Travis Hoig.
Brian Jusko.
Is that Razzmatazz pretty good?
It's Raz Cranberry. It's whatever.
It's whatever?
Yep.
Everyone out there listening, thank you for joining us. I don't sound great. I feel fine.
You
Sound
don't look great either.
Don't look great. I've never looked great. I don't sound great because over the last couple of days, I guess it's that time of year, I've been coughing a little bit. And I guess that's something that all of us will probably deal with at some point during this upcoming fall season.
Not if we wash our hands.
Always wash your hands. Always sanitize. I think those are good things, especially in this time. Now, before we get started, too, my voice is also hoarse because I've talked so much today because basketball practice started. I don't know, podcast listeners from last year remember, during the basketball season, I also coach a middle school girls basketball team that my two daughters play on. I'm doing that again, and today was the first practice. I did a lot of loud talking, and that didn't help out my already deeper voice and raspy. And unfortunately, I'm going to try to control. I have a piece of candy in my mouth. I was not able to, and I don't need to get into why, stop over here. I'm sorry. Get cough drops on the way over here. Travis was helpful enough to have some form of he said it was some form of a cough drop. It really is a candy.
Yeah, it's a honey candy, man.
It's
got honey in the middle. So once you get down there, then it's going to coat your throat.
Okay, so I just got to get to the middle, to the center of a Tootsie Pop. Is it anyone states this? Remember the commercials?
How many licks, man?
How many licks does it take to get? But he never licks it. He just crunches it, right?
Yeah.
1, 2.
Those are the weirdest licks.
Yeah.
He crunched.
Yeah,
You're asking the wrong question. The real question is, why is an owl eating a lollipop?
He's a professor. It's obvious.
Why is he wearing glasses?
He's a professor.
He's smart.
I don't know, guys.
All right. Enough nonsense. Let's get into this. We're going to cover about 4 or 5 topics, and I'm sure we will drift into others as we get started. We also are blessed to have an in-studio guest. He is not on camera, but just trust me, you might hear him cough in the background. My father joins us officially as our first, I believe, on video, even though not on video, but in the room guest on the podcast. So
I tried to give him a microphone. He said no.
Dad, thanks for coming. Brian and my father have known each other for years, and I purposely, when I realized that this was happening.
Who's known him longer, you or you?
Dave's known him
I've known him a little bit longer.
Okay.
A little bit longer. And anyways, it was fun to see Brian come in. He had no idea that Dad was going to be here tonight, so that was fun. All right.
There were tears.
Full of surprises.
Slow movement toward it was.
All right, let's jump into it. Brian, where should we start?
Well, I think we should start with some of the things that happened in game week 8.
I think it's 8.
It was 8.
Going into 9.
Just, I think a good place to start just to say David Bowden at Typical Wannabe 1 on X, just a really great screenshot of his team prior to the Liverpool and Manchester City games where he had a starting lineup that included Raya, Saliba, Joachim Anderson, Saka in there, Onana, and Smith Rowe, and had scored a combined 1 point with those players. And asked what everyone was probably feeling early on in the game week, can we just skip this FPL game week?
Right. It wasn't a fun game week, was it?
It was.
There wasn't a whole lot of points from meaningful people or goals and or assists from meaningful people.
No. If you went differential, you were probably feeling good. If you captained differential, you were definitely feeling pretty good.
Maybe.
If you didn't triple cap in Haaland, you're feeling pretty good.
You're feeling great. Yeah. If you did.
Anyone who the Salah.
I'm sorry that we even floated the idea along with it.
The numbers were there
last week,
but we'll talk about that in a bit.
No, I think there are a few things that happen. Obviously, I can take a look now and see. We can start again with Dave with your team, since that's all anybody cares to talk about. Really, is
well, we also care to talk about golf trips and middle school girls basketball.
And pickleball. If we can throw pickleball in there, that's always a great conversation.
Whatever it takes to keep you happy.
Dave, is Arsenal faking, or are they not faking because if they're not faking, then Arsenal has some real problems.
Faking with injuries?
Faking with anything.
I mean, they usually are, but it doesn't seem like it this time.
Faking with anything.
Well, let's start with the actual start of the game week. You already knew after the international break, Saka, we talked last week about, 11 first teamers that were all injured. Saka first of all of those. Turns out turns out the injury actually was
a little bit more significant.
Serious. In a new FPL segment that we call Hotel Peepin'.
Wait, what?
People breaking down that fan phone video outside of the Arsenal hotel as the team was walking in. They're looking at it, examining it like it's the Zapruder film.
Okay.
Not even on the bench then against Bournemouth. You saw the video, right? It's people like fans that were. Did you see it? Fans were like screaming like as everyone came through. It was probably Timber that came through with the hood up, and someone
thought it was Saka.
Someone yelled Saka, and so it was like, well, maybe he's at the hotel. And it turns out I don't know if he was or wasn't. We never got an answer. All we know is he was not even in the team on Saturday.
What do you know about that? Anything?
And then also not on the bench today versus Shakhtar.
Yeah, I don't think he traveled. It's not great.
Arteta, as you would have guessed, non-committal. He wasn't able to train yet, so it's unlikely was one of the answers that he gave. But then he later said, either said helpful, he said something to the effect of, I'm still sorry I'm not hopeful, or sorry I'm not being helpful. But either way,
English
he said
is not
there are
his first
still
language.
a few more days.
Okay.
So you can find some variation of the joke from just about every FPL content creator out there of, well, that means he's playing. So is he bluffing, Dave, or is this something that's going to linger?
There hasn't been a significant injury past. This is the first time I can remember of him having somewhat of an injury. I don't think it's a significant
You
injury.
mean an injury that keeps him out of the lineup?
That keeps him out of the lineup.
2 matches is a lot.
For him, it is. For something that he walked off the pitch and or it happened in training. Honestly, so much has gone on. I don't even remember when it happened. But
he doesn't play for your basketball team.
Either way, I don't think, and I said this, I thought maybe he would start. I started him this week. I wasn't privied.
You said as much last week that you were going to start him, and you were adamant exactly what you're saying. He doesn't have a history. He seems fine. He'll play. So I guess that's the question: is where the heck did this come from?
So now,
they've been very good at keeping this.
Now he doesn't play, and he doesn't play midweek. Is that because we're playing a home match against Shakhtar? We got Liverpool on the weekend. We'd love to have him fresh, so that's why he's sitting today. Probably
with as much headspace as Liverpool occupies for Arteta, that very well could be.
Probably. But I think there's you say headspace. I think there's a very strong mutual respect there. At least Arteta respecting Liverpool.
Suggest otherwise, but I mean,
for just being good.
I mean, you guys had that docu-series that was going, and he was pretty shook.
Was shook.
Yeah, hey,
wasn't shook.
Disagree.
Fine. Moving on. Anyway, so I don't know. My sources have not. This is under such tight wraps. My sources have not let on.
Okay.
To me, anything yet, but other than you're
Who's
just gonna have to wait.
I think he's like Twitter friends with. That's a thing, right? Twitter friends.
Saka's grandmother is friends with a lady that I know. I'm kidding. Making all that up. All right. Havertz also had a question mark, right?
Yeah.
He played, and then he played against Shakhtar. So, again,
question marks gone.
That's something that we discussed last week, and I said I'm starting him, and I'm starting Saka. Now, I'll probably still start Saka unless it comes out midweek that there's no way he's playing.
And even if it did, you can't trust it.
Well, I was going to say,
this is why you have a bench.
Right? Yeah.
This is
I'm
why
saying
you have a bench.
I just assume you're not going to know again at all. I think you're going to be either selling and hoping or just guessing that you have nothing to go on any more than you normally do, and that's the thing that I sold him this week.
Havertz?
No,
Saka.
I ended up deciding that Saka was less likely to play. I decided to keep Havertz,
Okay.
thinking that also that Havertz might take penalties if Saka didn't play.
It's a good call.
Felt like the
Who else would?
matchup was still
Rice. It's got to be Havertz, right?
Basically, it was
probably.
Or Jesus if he's on the field, I guess maybe. But
yeah. Basically, it was I think it was just hedging toward better schedule. I'm trying to think who I saw that
it would be
said
Havertz.
it.
It would be Havertz.
I want to say it was. I'd like to say it was Flapjack.
Oh, Flapjack?
Flapjack FPL. I'm pretty sure was the one that I like the idea. It was
we're not
him.
very creative with our names.
Here was the argument
better
that
at
I think we can get better.
I mean, it's whatever. Chewy. If you like Chewbacca, pick a character that you like.
Yeah.
Just tack FPL
It'd be
onto it.
FPL Fraggle Rock.
Wow,
Well,
nice one.
no, I would be FPL Sandy Cheeks from
I don't even know what
from
that is.
SpongeBob. You don't know? Yes,
Sandy
you do.
Cheeks.
You know Sandy the
Wait,
squirrel.
that's a. Wait, are you like non-binary now?
No,
She's a girl.
Gosh, no, it's Sandy, the squirrel that lives underwater in Bikini Bottom. Of course, you've seen this.
I know who you're talking about, but why would you?
Put it on the screen.
I'm not
not-
well versed.
No one can
in
see
the
the screen.
SpongeBob lore.
The point is, Flapjack FPL made just the simple statement of, I'm beyond caring if Saka starts, doesn't start, scores, or blanks. There are some fun, low-owned replacements to be had with better fixtures. I saw that, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm doing it.
I'm
like,
not ready
right.
for North London transfers. That's our next
Right,
segment.
I'm just
let's finish up on the injuries.
I'm
'cause
just saying
there's
with,
more.
Right, I'm just saying with Saka that was a deciding factor.
Yeah.
You also now
I
have,
do want to. I can't wait to actually hear who you brought in.
well, just
But
that-
no, don't do it yet.
no, I'm not saying it now. I'm just saying like transfers out.
I'm beyond caring who he brought in.
Well, I'm not, Travis. I care.
No, I'm just saying for transfers out, Saka is other than Saliba, I think he's
there
Saka's
for-
second. Saka is second most. So 273,000 probably
That's wild.
probably going to drop in price.
With no indication
Tonight.
that there's other than missing 2 matches. That's odd.
Right. So I think either way, I mean, you look at the upcoming fixtures, you also have, you still have no Odegaard. You still have, and now your defense, you're minus Saliba, potentially down Calafiori. So
Yeah, that's bad. Good. Champions League today seems picked up an injury. Too early for my sources to let me know what's going on.
the image to find Fabrizio Romano's image that he shared. Go find his Twitter feed or wherever else you find your Fabrizio
I need
news.
my sound. I'm gonna do that.
But
one of these
basically,
days.
that his leg was twisted in an odd direction. You've seen that. You've probably done that. You've had an ankle roll.
I
I mean,
can't-
he's done
I
that
can't
to
bend that
someone,
way.
but he's not
Right,
yeah.
but I'm saying like sometimes
Yeah, you're not built like Gumby.
I'm more flexible than you think.
but I think
don't need
My
to know
knee
that.
cannot
I don't
bend
need to
like
know
that.
I'm
That's-
just saying I've had ankle rolls where I was like, it felt like it was going to snap off at the bottom, but it didn't, and you walk it off. and
That's
then
true.
It turns out
That's
better.
true.
However, that did not look good. So either way,
Yeah,
Is the ankle better than a knee? Probably, right? Almost always.
yeah, I think so.
unless you're Chris Godwin.
Well, this is not an
NFL
American
Either
NFL
way-
football podcast.
The point is, everyone is selling Saliba because he's suspended.
Okay,
The knock-on effect of that, Gabriel, your second most transferred out defender of all defenders. Saka, the number one midfielder transfer out. Havertz, the number one forward transfer out. Raya, the number one defender transfer
that
out.
seems super premature. The Arsenal's deep even with all these injuries. They're fine.
I think they're still going to be okay. No,
I mean, Zinchenko may end up on the field, which nobody wants to see.
It's not
But
great.
at the end of the day, though, Ben White hasn't been seeing a lot of the pitch.
he played.
He played today.
He did.
Urian Timber, we haven't talked to him yet. He's
They're
had
kinda
some question marks.
been-
Is he
I don't
fine?
think it's. He did not travel with the Champions League team. Actually, okay, they didn't have to travel. They were playing at home. He was not.
He was not there.
He was not in the team.
It wasn't him in the hoodie in the hotel peeping.
I think it was one of the younger guys, Miles Skelly, is who that was. Anyways,
Dave, Your team has not kept a clean sheet
In multiple weeks.
Since game week 4 in the North London Derby. You are now
great.
you lose
4 weeks in a row.
You lose 2-0 to Bournemouth in the most hilarious result for your club in probably the
One
last
of the worst
3 seasons.
results I've seen in a long time.
Worse
Doesn't
than the
feel good.
3-3 draw against Southampton in the title run-up last season.
Yeah, this was bad.
You are now home to Liverpool, at Newcastle, at Chelsea in your next 3. Got to say those 3 are not fantastic. Dave, my question for you...
One of them's not bad.
My question for
Newcastle's
you,
not
Dave...
scary right now.
One, are you advising... do you agree with Travis that you're advising this fire sale? Especially on the defense.
I don't think they should be
So
selling.
I would, on the face of it, I want to say no. I would not sell Gabriel. He's still a threat on set pieces. They're going to continue.
There was a bunch of numbers on shots for him, like 15 shots or something.
How many
but
points?
here's the
How
issue.
many points will his shots be worth when you guys lose 4-0 to Liverpool this week?
Exactly. The
Depends
other,
on if he
well,
scores.
the other thing is this: if with Saliba out and a new partnership, someone stepping in that's not going to have the amount of games that Gabriel and Saliba have together, is that going to significantly affect the defense? Now, some would say,
which hasn't been great.
Some would
to start
say,
with.
my brother Matt, for one, would say
He says a lot
Saliba's
of things.
been
We
horrible.
don't listen to any of them.
He said Saliba's been horrible all season. So
He hasn't been good. That's fair.
Some haters could argue that it doesn't even matter if Saliba's there. He's played bad all season. And I at first I was like, haters are just going to hate.
Yeah.
But I've been looking at it a little closer, and he has not had a great season. I mean, there is credence to, I hate to give my brother credit for anything, but there's some credence to that. So the fact that Saliba's not out there, and maybe some of his bad decisions, whether it's giving away penalties or getting red cards or questionable cards or not being in the right position, maybe having a fresh face in there might actually help out a little bit more.
Who is the fresh face?
I think it's Givior.
Dave.
But that's a great question. I mean, I don't know. In the Bournemouth match when we went down to 10, they just moved Partey back, and it was actually, I'm sorry, in the beginning it went with a back 3, and then they moved Partey back. So it'd be nice to just have my team play with 11 guys on the pitch instead of 3 out of 8 games finishing it with 10.
So, your brother, again, we talked about him way too much already.
Sure,
I don't want to hear it from him, but
right.
He made a point. Arteta's teams do tend to lack a little bit of discipline, and at first I was ready to go to war and be like, "Nah, you're crazy." Pulling the numbers, they got issues.
What are the numbers?
I have to find them, but
All right.
they got issues.
I'll take your word
Dave,
for it.
I posted them. Let me grab them because it is worth noting. He's had a ton of. Here we go.
Listen, I'm
Red
okay
cards.
with dark arts and tactical fouls, but you got to finish the game with 11 guys. You just whatever's going on. And here's the thing: like, what are the 3 red cards? 2 of them from knocking the ball away, and then Saliba's takedown. Now, someone, excuse me, someone was saying this weekend that Tosin had a takedown in the exact same spot.
It was really similar,
and didn't get a card. Now,
the
I'm not going to argue.
Chelsea
didn't get a red
defender.
card.
He didn't.
Right.
He did not get a red card.
I'm not going to.
Chelsea defender was a little bit closer. I would not be surprised if they did end up challenging that red card with that as an example. I would not be surprised because it was really similar.
I haven't seen it yet. So, like my feeling on it is, it wasn't a red cardable. That's not even a thing.
Denial of a goal scoring opportunity.
For sure.
There's so much ground to cover.
So much ground. Raya could come out. Ben White was sprinting that way because he saw it happen
pretty far
before
away,
it started happening.
He was pretty far away.
The guy could Gerard slip. I mean, something could happen. Now, I'm not going to argue that if it was a red.
It was harsh. It was harsh, regardless of how you look at it.
I don't even
think
know.
it was harsh.
But either way, you can't be making a call that could be that, if you're Saliba or an Arsenal defender. you can't be making that play, even if it might be questionable. And that's my biggest problem. And the reason why he even had to make it is because he was out of his position. And so he wasn't doing his job right, and that's not the first time that's happened this season.
So here are the numbers on Arteta's red cards. There were 5 in the 1920 season, 5 in the 2021 season, 4 in the 21-22 season, 0 in 22-23, 2 in 23-24, and already 3 this season. I honestly didn't think it was that bad. And my immediate thought was Xhaka played in all those teams. And so I actually checked.
He didn't play in any.
Xhaka, he did play in all of those teams, well, except for the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
But he only counts for 2 of those red cards. I thought he would have accounted for more. So it wasn't just Xhaka, but still.
I would be surprised.
That's a lot.
I would be surprised. Well, okay, it sounds like a lot, but have you given me stats for other teams?
No, but I mean,
if they finish the season with
that's
3
just
red,
Premier League.
if
though.
they finish the season with 3 red cards,
If the other
is that
teams,
considered a lot?
if the other teams jumped off a bridge with a bunch of red cards, would your team go ahead and jump off the bridge too, Dave?
Man, you sound like my father.
Dave,
Pops is giving you a thumbs up over
for
there.
me, that's the dad. That's
Right,
That's
yeah.
an old
Yeah.
dad coming up.
Right.
Everyone bent over backwards trying to get Ray into their team weeks ago because of this good run of fixtures, which has led to nothing.
And now it's over. So people are
now it's
selling.
over. I totally understand selling Ray, who wasn't. It wasn't an option for me anyway. I'm not really 31% selection for Raya. Come on.
Well, what the wild thing is, I think he's still third in goalkeeper scoring, and only behind second place by 1 point. With as bad as it's been,
That
Sanchez.
seems impossible.
I mean, Onana's the top scoring goalkeeper. He's 4 points behind him, and 3 of the games that out of the 8 that he's played, his team has had 10 guys. So, I'm just saying, is it really that bad, or is Arsenal cannot. They will not. I'll bet my life on the fact that they will not continue. They will not play another 8 games and have three of those 8 games with red cards.
Dave,
I promise you that's not
but
gonna
Matt
happen.
Sells has the same number of points as he does, and he's 4-5. Your guy's 5-7. Why
Sure,
the heck are you even
and
bothered
Forrest
with
is
that?
worth an argument because they have been surprising everyone.
Yeah. Dave, how many Arsenal clean sheets between now and game week 15? Let's do the schedule. Home Liverpool, away Newcastle, away Chelsea, home Nottingham Forest, away West Ham, home Manchester United, away Fulham. I will tell you this also, Dave. For what it's worth, Arsenal allows an average of 11 shots per game,
Which
at
is
home, which is tied for 6th fewest. But on the road, they allow 18 shots per game, which is 3rd most. Also, you
shots
have
get you saves.
3.97 XG allowed at home, which is 4th best. 6.71 XG allowed away, which is 7th best, but it's barely better than West Ham at 6.75.
That's shocking.
4 of your next 7, of course, are away games, and your home games are against Liverpool, Nottingham Forest, and Manchester
So how many
United.
clean sheets match week 9 through 15? That's the question.
You didn't want to keep going to Everton, Palace, and Ipswich?
No, because I feel like
All right.
I'm
Those
just
are doable.
saying.
Those
I'm
are
saying
doable.
this
Come on.
is a 7-game stretch, which
7-game
is
stretch.
a lot of games to decide about
many?
spending 5.7 on your goalkeeper or over 6 for 2 of your defenders. I'm saying for just on the defense side, to
Agreed.
me, I feel like it's
I feel a bet brewing.
Well,
I want to hear what I want to hear what he says, and then I want to hear your rebuttal because you asked that question with something in mind. I would imagine.
I'm just thinking, Josko Gvardiol is the same price as Gabriel,
right.
and I'm just saying.
Is that right?
Yes, they're both 6'1".
At least right now, 'cause he's gonna
Well,
go
I was
up,
going
right?
to say Gvardiol's 6'1", Gabriel's 6'3", I think, since
so-
he had just gone up
okay.
in price. So actually, he's less than Gabriel.
What time is it? 9?
He's 0.1
All right.
more than
he
Saliba.
did not. The price changes came through. McNeil went up. Saka went down. Bruno went down. Anthony went down. Dewsbury Hall went down. Areola went down. So McNeil's the only person that went up tonight. Gvardiol went up yesterday to 6'1". So
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
So-
I'm just saying even on the premium end,
Right.
you have guys that are the same price with, and this was the Saka argument I think that Flapjack was making earlier in the week.
Flapjack.
Just that better teams.
That's a good point, Sandy Cheeks.
Extra good teams with extremely good schedules. So why not move away from them? Also, given the injuries, also given the general turmoil of the team right now,
I think it's a good move, and I'm not going to argue.
Though? 9 through 15.
7 kind of tough games. How many clean sheets out of those 7? I see 2 at
4.
I see 2 at
4.
most.
4?
4.
All right, so over 3.5.
That's amazing.
I should get odds on 4. I know I'm a crazy person.
Brian, under. I'm just giving you under 3.5.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
you said 2.
West Ham and
Michel Antonio, man.
Well, look,
Love to
hey,
push somebody out of the
Nottingham Forest just managed a clean sheet at Newcastle this week against all odds, and despite some really good efforts from Newcastle. If Nottingham Forest can do it, maybe Arsenal can do it too. I don't know, man. I just think if you had even Fulham at home, even if it was, it's just that even the so-called easy ones in there are away.
Yeah, I think I like that you're going balls to the wall.
Probably
on this
should go 3.
But
3's
there's
a safe number.
Hey, 3.5 is already in the
3's
bets
a
document,
safe number.
so it's done.
3's a safe
It's done.
number.
It's too late.
I'll take the over.
It's too late. 3.5.
All right.
And all of it is to say you have decisions to make. They are so massively owned.
Yeah.
You're not selling Saka, though.
I'm not selling Saka. I'm not selling Havertz.
Okay.
I currently own Raya. I have 2 transfers this week. I could easily make up some money and go to sells. I might do that. That probably is a smart play. I can make some money. I can turn Raya into sells, and then I can turn my dead striker into Cameron Archer or possibly someone else. So, in other words, I can spread a little bit more love around. So we'll see.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So the people running away from Gabriel are probably okay.
I just wouldn't go out. I wouldn't waste a hit to sell Gabriel. If the rest of your team is golden, and you have nothing else to do, and you're like, I just want to do something with this.
All right,
then
so
do it.
This is North London transfers. Let's talk about Son, because there was a whole lot of weirdness going on with
6.7% owned Son. Spurs get one little win. Oh, look at us, 4-1.
Take what they can get.
Lighting the fire.
True.
Take what they can get.
I'm just bitter because they won and we didn't. It's whatever.
We know you didn't have to say it.
Right.
You could easily call this assist gate as well. I just think
go into that. You were explaining to me a little bit.
It was.
I'm assuming it's worth it, right?
Why did they give it to
FPL
him?
people care.
That doesn't make any sense.
FPL people care.
So FPL saying it was credited to him without confirming or like an official review, and so when they actually officially reviewed it, after also the outcry of thousands of FPL content creators. They removed the assist from Son. But basically, initially it was awarded as an assist on an own goal for Areola. On the review, the ball deflected off of Todibo onto Areola. So it goes in officially as an Areola own goal only.
Right.
It is nothing. It was not. A Son did shoot it, but it was a deflection of a deflection. So it was initially ruled as an assist for Son. Part of it was that there was some. It seems like there's some the feeling that people who are content creators seem to have insider information and they weren't sharing it. So a lot of those people sold Saka to buy Son. Like that ended up being the move that was made by a lot of content creators. And so, of course, now we all, at least on social media, You had to hear about high leverage FPL accounts being called the FPL cartel. You know what? Not like you need more. Not like you need more to believe that we're living on the stupidest timeline.
Machine guns.
No, people were out.
I want to be part of the cartel, don't you?
People were
FPL
outraged.
cartel.
They're outraged, and but either way, FPL headquarters ended up removing the decision after outcry and after official review. So Sun finishes the game week with just a goal. And I think one bonus point, so still at least 60 minutes. So welcome back to the lineup.
Still better than Saka.
Yes, certainly much better than Saka.
All right, so let's do this. If the word comes out that Saka is injured, is it worth going to Son?
Well, they are already like this run of matches. That was part of the reason why so many people had gone to Brennan Johnson. I mean, obviously Brennan Johnson had scored in 7 straight games, all competitions. Blanks
came to an end.
Blanks this week, of course that would happen. Solanke, the other hot commodity this week, also blanks with just one shot. One more shot than Erling Haaland had this week, but still just one shot for Dominic Solanke. But no, Kulishevsky has another really excellent game. James Madison, despite only playing 45 minutes, at least gets an assist. That was my transfer, one of my transfers in this week. And then Porro, like all the defense, everybody, like, you know, everyone blanks. So everyone blanks, but Udogie is the one who kind of is.
Who?
Destiny Udogie. You may remember him from such things as being in the league for Spurs for 2 years now. He's been extremely good. And
is he playing in the midfield again? Center mid?
He's
like
playing,
he was last season.
By touches, he's playing far more advanced than Pedro Porro is, and so that's kind of the like all of these guys. We're back to that, like you just throw the names in a hat and you draw them, and whoever you get, it can get you something.
Right.
So between Son, Kulishevsky,
Kulishevsky's the pick.
Yeah,
so
Son,
Son
Kulishevsky. Brandon Johnson, obviously, people still going to him. Madison, like I said, an extremely good game in 45 minutes. I think there was a question of whether he was injured or not, and he wasn't. It was a tactical move by Ange. Felt like the way he put it was West Ham's midfield was asking certain questions. We felt like Pape Sarr, who came in at halftime or came in after halftime.
Didn't he have 2 assists or something like that? He played pretty well too.
He was extremely good. He but basically he felt like that Sarr offered he had an assist. Same thing as he had 1 assist. But Sarr Ange said that he felt like Sarr offered them a different kind of running based on what they were needed from their midfield. So basically Madison was extremely good in the game, I thought. But either way, Brennan Johnson played fine, no results. Kulishevsky is, to me, extremely hit or miss as far as FPL returns, but is going to be... Ange values him because he is the team captain for his national team. So I think he wants that attitude and wants that quality of a player on the pitch all the time. And so, you get Son back, all the activity. I mean, look at the numbers on it. All the activity is running through the midfield, and Udogie is the one of the two between Porro and Udogie. Udogie is the one who's getting more of the touches in the opposition box. I want to say he's number 1 on the season for defenders for touches in the opposition box. But either way, I feel like any of these guys, because the fixtures are still good upcoming, I wouldn't feel bad about transferring any of them in.
Okay. All right. They're still Spurs, so I wouldn't get near them. I'm kidding. It's
sorry,
jokes.
Udogie is second on the season. It goes Rico Lewis, 29 touches in the opposition box. Gvardiol and Udogie tied for second with still 28 touches in the opposition.
With everything
box.
that's going on with City, looking at Tottenham isn't a bad idea.
Poro
I agree.
By comparison, I think the idea was Poro's shooting a little bit more, but Poro 13 touches in the box. So Udogie 28, Poro 13.
Okay.
So that's a pretty wide gap for this season.
All right.
And of course, Udogie 0.6 cheaper than Pedro Poro.
Ooh.
So anyway,
Since you're talking about Spurs, West Ham, that Kudus red card was weird.
yeah.
The whole thing
It was like
weird.
all of a sudden
Yeah,
he just kind of lost
First
his
of all,
mind. Something
He
happened.
kicked
Van de Ven.
like 3 times. When
Just a
Van de Ven
really
was
weird
on the
one.
ground trying to get up, he punch slaps him,
Yeah.
He didn't
In
he
the
doesn't-
face.
He doesn't have like that type of like.
and then he did it again
It's just weird.
to
Richarlison. Well,
Yeah,
I
but-
just know that Richarlison and
he
Van de Ven
deserved-
were both on the ground.
Richarlison deserves it. He probably could have hit him a couple
No,
more
I
times.
thought
would've
it
been
was
fine.
after Richarlison. I was looking at 2 guys in the ground, and I didn't see it. It was someone else.
All that to say, that was really strange. I haven't seen one like that in a while.
Some people had
He
gone.
snapped, though.
Some
You're
people
right.
had gone
Definitely snapped.
Kudus as a differential based on the
And he
numbers.
scored,
I
like-
know he did score, and his numbers are crazy for the
Yeah.
recently. He has the most. The comparison was with. I mean, the only reason why I saw it is because the comparison was with Haaland since basically game week 5. But Kudus in the
Compare
last.
Haaland to anybody.
I'm
at
just
this
saying, in the
point.
last 4 game weeks, Kudus has the most shots on target of any player in the Premier League. Like he's been crazy all season long.
Yeah.
It kind of came good this week until straight red, suspended until game week 12.
That stinks. That
As
stinks
if-
for West Ham
I
and
was
for
gonna say,
him.
as if West Ham
Just
needed
didn't make any
more
sense.
problems.
Yeah. All right. Let's transition to some other hot commodities. Who else you got on your list there?
Hey, I want to talk about Jorginho Rudder for Brighton. You know that guy? Rudder?
You want-
Reuter.
You want to do it right now?
Well, he's a hot
Hot
commodity.
commodity.
Let's do it. Is he that hot? Is he that commodity?
7, 11, 6 in his last 3 against Chelsea, Tottenham, and Newcastle. 3 teams you would think in the top 10 typically, and he seems to be crushing them, only getting 70 minutes a game.
And he's a League One
He's
transfer.
5'5".
Is that right? That's right.
I'm not sure
I
of
think
his
he came from
history.
League One.
5'5", and he seems to be on fire. And I didn't realize it till after this match week, and I'm like, I heard Reuter's name again. Let's start looking into it, and here we go. He's been crushing the last 3 weeks against 3 decent teams, and then you look at Brighton's schedule upcoming, and it's not great, but it's not good at all actually. You get home Wolves this week. I was just looking at someone
Liverpool
else's
City,
schedule.
Bournemouth.
Well, once
yeah.
It was Everton's. I saw Everton's schedule. Everton's schedule, which we'll get to in a minute, is really good. If you're considering someone in their defense, I would not trust anyone to try to score, whether it's Njai or not. But in their defense, you can easily argue a Michael Keane at 4-1.
So,
Anyways,
Reuter's-
getting back to Reuter, it's Brighton is home Wolves, at Liverpool, at City for the next 3.
to that point though, the guys that he's
Home City,
scoring
home City.
against are not teams that you
Okay,
would
that's
expect
a very,
them to
very
score
valid
against.
point.
So it could be a tactical thing where maybe they're scoring on the break or just whatever however they're set up against teams that they're expecting a difficult game from. So it may not be a bad idea to look at him. Looking at the Wolves game could tell us a lot, but Liverpool, Manchester City could be tough. Though Manchester City has not been. They've been leaky. They've been leaky.
They've
from a
been
defensive
leaky for a
perspective.
couple years.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since they've had a defense where you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
they could get some clean sheets.
And Liverpool let a goal in again this week. So they're doing pretty well, but still, not a bad shout.
All right,
Who else you got?
I wanted to give Reuter a shout.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those. He's definitely one of the less than $6 options.
What's he classified as? A midfielder or
Like,
a forward?
At the moment,
he's a midfielder.
I'm trying to figure out.
That's hard because I think he's playing very advanced. He's playing like a 9.
Would I
isn't he?
rather own Semenyo or Reuter at this point? They're both the same price.
I mean, there's a lot of those guys in that range, though. That's the thing. I was going to say, like, you already have Morgan Rogers in that range. I was going to say you have Buonanotte from Leicester doing the same thing, basically that Reuter's doing.
Yeah.
I would say, look, I mean,
which is funny because he came from Brighton.
I know he's a little bit more than that, but Garnacho back on the list as somebody who you probably might want to consider.
Gazpacho.
Yes.
It's cold.
Stop.
Is that from SpongeBob?
If
it's not, I don't know it.
I can't. I have that cough now where I've coughed so much I can't laugh.
Whatever that is.
I know they've actually been working. I knocked them. They have been working. Although I just coughed a minute ago.
I was going to say that Reuter has been since game week 4. He's started and played up to 73 minutes, and since game week 4,
that's a good point. He has been coming off.
Yeah, so seems like it's very much a rotation thing with him, but he's still basically a top 3 on the team for shots and touches in the opposition.
He's on fire at the moment. That's why I wanted to bring him up.
He's got cool hair.
Yeah, I just think the schedule might sway it. I'm not sure if you want to go that way.
Yeah.
I was going to say that Garnacho this week, I mean, specifically talking about this week, he took 8 shots. So he's number 1 of all players for the game week.
I mean, how many other people on Manchester United are taking shots?
Not many.
Let's be
they
honest.
finally put a good game kind of together this week. Garnacho scored a goal, 3 bonus points, finishes with a 10 for the game week. I'd say the biggest positive for him is it's 90 minutes in his last 4 games. So
that's a good call, Brian.
United's got a good little run coming here up here with the next 5 match
right,
weeks.
And Garnacho already, I would say, even off the bench, he had some good performances, and because we mentioned it a few weeks ago. I think anybody who had seen last season, he was in a ton of teams while he was playing 90 minutes every week. Right,
He's so cheap.
A little more expensive this week, but since in the last 4 game weeks among midfielders, Garnacho is tied for 3rd in shots. So Kudus and Palmer are ahead of him, but Garnacho's taken 17 shots in the last 4 games. He's got 8 shots on target, tied for 2nd with Cole Palmer and Mo Salah.
Okay.
Kudus is the only one ahead of him.
Wow.
And he's not playing, so it doesn't matter.
He's taken 11 shots in the box, which is tied for 4th. He's got 3 big chances, which whatever. XG's a little low, but who cares? And I'd say and respectable. 29 box touches, tied for 6th.
Scott Weeby cares. He cares about XG.
It's just that next 5, you're at West Ham, home Chelsea, home Leicester, at Ipswich, home Everton. So the next 5 games.
Yeah, there's some really good ones.
Yeah. So again, they did put it together a little bit this week. Garnacho scores, Højlund scores. You get a win against Brentford. So I feel like a team.
That's a tough one.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not a cupcake.
That's not
three of 5 are at home too. So I agree with you. I think Garnacho's a good shout. That's good.
And I think this is where everyone had someone from most likely Semenyo from Bournemouth. I mean, I'm looking my replacement. Garnacho might be my replacement for Tavernier. I mean, he was if anyone.
Why you owned him in the first place, no one understands.
Money, just money.
Money move.
But also numbers. He had some numbers. But no, I had to replace him. Either way, I think there's a lot of those cheaper kind of midfielders that
Okay.
You're probably rethinking is I think the point in all of this.
All right.
Who else you got?
Dave, you wanted to go kind of more. Well, I was going to say we already said Buonanotte from Leicester. He scored a goal this week. He's got returns in his last 3. Started the last 3 games, returns in all 3 of them. He's gone 4-11 and 6 in the last 3 games.
They've got a little bit of a more rough run.
Similar to
what I'm about to suggest is going to hurt.
Similar to Reuter, it's probably more about enabling with him and price. But overall, I'd say the numbers are pretty good. He's in that top 6 to 10-ish range for most of his stats. But yeah, I mean, look, 3. You know what it is? 3 returns in a row, hard to ignore. And he is a pick that I definitely saw some accounts that were pushing him in the last 2 weeks. So good on anybody who went for him earlier than this.
All right. What I'm about to suggest in this hot commodities segment, it hurts to say this, and I'm going to feel not smart saying what I'm about to say.
Can't wait to hear this.
Your new favorite team is Chelsea, and Madueke is your transfer.
Negative.
No.
Oh man.
I am actually going to suggest that it's not a bad idea to get an Everton defender and or bring in Jordan Pickford for the next 7 match weeks.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I know how silly that 6 match weeks. I know how silly that sounds.
All right, so I hear you, and Pickford maybe, but an Everton defender.
You can.
The problem is, who are you going to bring in?
Money,
because ultimately,
bring in Michael Keane.
So you go to Keane. So when Branthwaite is magically healthy again and comes back for one match,
maybe
and jacks you up,
maybe he's 4-1. I have other guys that are more expensive that typically I'm relying on. I'm just saying, if he's your lowest
is this
defender,
a defender you're playing, or this is your fifth?
Well, like right now, I could bring in Keane at a 4-1 for my 4-0 Greaves, who has a red triangle. You know what I'm saying? So like, he's got a hamstring injury.
That I'm fine with. So if it's your fifth defender, sure, go for it. He's a 4-1. It's a little more expensive.
I don't think anyone's relying on 4-1 and 4-0 defenders.
And don't get me wrong, I see that he scored this week, but that's not going to happen every week like it does with
I don't
Vardy,
even care if he scored or not. I'm saying look at their upcoming schedule. And then in the early on, there were some people, including me, who had Pickford on my team to start the season.
Fulham, Southampton, West Ham, Brentford.
And I had to get rid of them.
They're green, by the way, Brian, in case you were wondering.
Look, early in the season, I'm not sure we realized this, Everton's start to the season was really difficult. They played home to Brighton, at Spurs, home Bournemouth. Both Brighton and Bournemouth have been better than we would have thought, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe Brighton on par where we thought. Bournemouth definitely better.
I think everybody was unsure about Brighton,
we didn't
but
expect Bournemouth to be as good as they were.
Yeah.
Or as they have been. And then they played Villa. So they lost their first 4 matches.
Because they suck.
Okay, I'm not saying they're great. I'm just saying their problem really was everything. And let's not forget they lost
Can't score a goal to save their lives, yeah.
They lost and or drew multiple of those games within the last 30 seconds of the game, right? They've had at least 2 or 3 of those heartbreaking losses and or draws.
My heart. I felt great about it.
My point being is they played a harder schedule to start the season. It's happened at the end of games.
It is definitely easing
up.
And
my
on them.
point being
no question.
is it is way easier over the next 6 match weeks.
So
and it pains me, and I know it sounds crazy to say.
Oh, you're crazy. All right. So how many clean sheets do you think they're going to get over the next 6 match weeks? Because I would love to hear that.
I don't think Fulham. I think Fulham you would use the Fulham players to target Everton, not the other way around. So so next week is not, to me, this is where the rating system messes people's minds up. So like I would rather be bringing in Raul Jimenez.
Yes.
Or now I mean who knows?
You could easily argue that.
Whatever. Next week, like at Southampton, way more green. That is a truly green matchup for Everton. At West Ham, who knows what that's going to look like?
Right.
But
Kudus still won't be on the field.
Right. Still no Kudus there.
Still.
International break, home Brentford. Again, that is a Wissa and Mbuemo game.
Because Wissa is back.
Not the other way around. So 2 of the next 4, even though they're colored green, I think
you're only saying the
gray at best.
I hear you, but the only reason why you're saying that is because up to this point they've only had like 2 clean sheets on the season. But I would argue their schedule was that much harder.
What I'm asking you is match weeks 9 to 14. That's the 6 match weeks that you're talking about. How many clean sheets are they going to get?
What's my over under?
That's what I'm asking you.
No, I need you to set it, and then I'll pick.
I want you to tell me. So you're saying probably 2 is what we should expect. I think I'm on board with 2, maybe 2. But honestly, I think it's under.
If they get one against Fulham, I mean, I feel like that would be. I mean, that'd be wild. They didn't keep one against Newcastle because he saved a poorly taken penalty kick. Because Pickford saved a penalty.
Yeah.
So they conceded the penalty. So you got exactly what you want if you're Anthony Gordon, and they did not convert it. Ipswich, I mean, I don't know. I feel like we've kind of hedged a little bit toward Ipswich, just kind of hoping.
Which is a shame because I want them to do so well.
I was going to say Liam Delap was like a huge transfer in the last few weeks,
and he's
thinking for exactly this. It's exactly this way of thinking is what I'm saying.
So he's still out there. He's still got a good run of fixtures, but because he's playing Everton. So here's what I'm going to give you: over 2.5 or under 2.5.
I'd say over. Over
right.
2.5.
I'll take under 2.5. I got you on the list. Right. So you've got. Let's see how that goes.
Dave, I have Mikolenko on my team. He was my wild card. One of my wild cards. No, he's
still there.
I put him second bench this week and got to watch his 7 points.
Stay there.
Get nowhere near my lineup.
That's brutal.
But I understand. Like, Keane's the second most transferred in defender for the game week. Completely understandably,
he's
Pickford's the second most transferred in goalkeeper. Dwight McNeil went up in price tonight, so he's the third most transferred in forward.
I get
it. Midfielder. Calvert-Lewin, we talked about this before the pod started, just what a trendy pick Calvert-Lewin was after his two good performances there. He's blanked the last 4. And Jai is performing better, has had at least a return more recently than Dominic Calvert-Lewin has, but he's nowhere near the list. He is not I think he maybe cracks the top 12 for transfers in, but he's not a consideration. However, you're going back further in their lineup.
Would you rather have Sells or Pickford over the next 5 match weeks?
Sells has actual arms. They're like big, long. Pickford?
Sells had the save this week against Eze. Eze finally would have would have scored off of a set piece if not for Sells and his
Are Matt
arms.
Sells and Bernd Leno like twins, by the way?
Oh yeah.
They look really similar, don't they?
They do look a little similar.
It's freaking me out sometimes. Just throwing that out there.
Anyways, Pickford's obviously more expensive, but what?
Yeah, I think Sells is the pick on those two. And honestly,
do you know
most
his
of it's
schedule?
my bias against Everton.
Do you know his schedule?
Freaking hate them.
Or do you care?
Newcastle, Nottingham Forest, Leicester, West Ham, Newcastle. Not awesome, but fine. Arsenal, Ipswich, Manchester City. Terrible.
Right.
So I mean, but again, going back to maybe that's what the bet needs to be. Next 6 game weeks, who's going to have more clean sheets, Pickford or Sells?
I would say Pickford.
I would. There's more opportunity for Pickford, but honestly, I think Sells could end up being based on the statistics from Nottingham Forest. Could very well be the case.
Yeah, look,
take it.
Just XG numbers, like in actual numbers, Nottingham Forest has 10.1 XG against on the season. They've conceded 6 actual goals, so they are overperforming their XG by 4 goals. Everton's XG on the season is 15.5. They've conceded 15 goals. So I don't know if you want to read that as they are conceding exactly what they're supposed to be conceding. Pickford is not helping their situation at all. I think you saw today, yesterday. Wait, what day is it?
Today's Tuesday.
So it was yesterday. But, you saw
You're lost.
I can't remember. I feel like it's because we record on different days.
I know.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, but as off of a free kick, he puts it was headed straight for the top corner, the top right toward the goal. And I'm saying that it Sells making a fingertip save onto the bar and over the bar. I'm saying it's saves like that.
Yeah.
It was saves like that prevented Cole Palmer from scoring probably at least 2 goals against them 2 weeks ago. So
speaking of, your Cole Palmer bet has come good.
I bought Sells.
So you own him now?
Yeah, nothing was more amazing to me than making one of my other Bournemouth transfers on my wild card was to put Kepa on my team for that good run of 3 matches that they had, him to get 0 clean sheets in that time, and then I sell him for Sells.
Wait, you got Sells 11 points this week?
Yes, I did.
Good for you.
But Kepa finally gets
That's how he passed me.
Kepa finally gets a clean sheet.
That was the thing that did
against Arsenal. That is like perfect. Perfect FPL.
Of course. Good point.
The if you want to move forward, I mean, I'm sure there are other midfielders that, I mean, you're going to have to make decisions on people, but Raul Jimenez scored again this week.
Well, let's talk about budget forwards here in a bit.
Okay. Sure.
For now,
He is a hot
commodity.
He is a hot commodity.
Right.
He belongs in both camps. But we have called out forwards in general as one of the topics we're going to talk about. But let's transition to not a hot commodity. What the frick is going on with Erling Haaland right now? The
I
general
thought you were about
rule
to have
is
to beep yourself.
I couldn't get to the button fast enough, so I had to frick it.
All right.
So 3 weeks. You don't do anything for 3 weeks. You're out of here. Haaland's in your team or not in your team?
I'm a scaredy cat, and so he's still on my team.
But that's an exception to your rule, correct?
Yes. I typically like to have a rule. I think the pod generally has a rule that after you blank for 3 weeks, it's time to look somewhere else.
I think world number 1 does not have Haaland. I'm pretty sure, unless unless his score
has never or just doesn't now.
Currently, I don't know if he never had it
Travis, there's red things on the screen. Is that showing up?
No.
Is that is that his name, world number 1, or are you just calling the world number whoever's number 1?
I'm saying the
world number 1 is
because if you were
Sandy
actually
Cheeks.
the world's number 1
FPL Sandy
FPL player and your name was the world number 1, that'd be pretty dope.
So you're going to be FPL world number 1 as your Twitter handle?
No, I was
X
thinking
handle.
about Sandy Cheeks.
Yeah, I like it. I just can't. Yeah,
You know, the squirrel from SpongeBob.
I was thinking about like when you sit on the beach without a towel.
Yeah. World number 1 ranked player, Mr. Awad Shak. At least that's the name that's currently on
Wow,
there.
look at you, pronunciation
does
guy.
not have Haaland, and he
Never will.
Captain. No, I don't.
Probably Captain
he
Salah.
may not. He also
Probably
had,
Captain Salah.
No, he Captain Foden. He has
Ugh.
Phil Foden, Captain Phil Foden. He also has Luis Diaz currently in his team. The world number 1 has a really odd team.
It's good to know that people make the same mistakes that we do.
Hey, but he's like world number 1.
Yeah,
You know what?
I'm sure he's not confident about his team right now. He benched Danny Welbeck. So Welbeck was first bench for him, hit 9 points sitting there.
Rough week for everybody.
So anyway, yeah.
All right, Haaland. What's going on with Haaland? What are we doing? You're holding him. You have him?
Attempted 0 shots.
I'm just these stats are so damning.
He had,
I'm just a
he had
scaredy
13
cat.
touches total in the game, only 3 of those 13 touches were in the Wolves box. Nothing says FPL ! Like Rico Lewis and Erling Haaland being the only 2 Manchester City players to play a minute in that game and not attempt a shot. And Ederson. But like all other
I wouldn't be surprised
players.
if he did attempt a shot.
I think there are no takeaways from this.
From that match particularly.
Because the schedule is good whether he gets a 17 or whether he gets a 2.
Yeah.
And the question is who else? It's the permanent question. He costs a lot. You can spend that. You can move him to someone else.
Getting worked up.
Yeah, I'm angry. You can move him to someone else and spend that money wherever else you want in your team. I just feel like it's just the permanent question you're going to have with him all season. I can give you some more concrete numbers.
But the point is that Wolves played that match, and I made this joke during the match, but Wolves played that match like a 10-man Arsenal. And you know what?
It almost worked.
It almost worked. It ended the exact same way with City finding a goal in extra time at the end of the second half.
Assisted by Phil Foden.
But still, like, if that's all it takes is just put 11 guys in the box and call it a day, and then try and score more than they do on a break, early, and then pack the box, park the bus, whatever you call it. Like, they're not unlocking defenses without Rodri for whatever reason.
And someone else. Game weeks 1 to 4.
KDB's not in there.
Game weeks 1 through 4. Erling Haaland, 54 points, 9 goals, took 20 shots, 14 shots on target, had 8 big chances, had an XG of 4.88, had a non-penalty XG of 4.12.
It's wild.
31 touches in the opposition box.
Alien.
I can let you guess what number rank he is for every single one of those categories, but I think you probably already know the answer.
3.
Numero uno.
Definitely 3. Oh, 1. It's
Game
1.
weeks 5 to 8, he has 15 points since game week 5, which is on page 6. If you sort Fantasy Football Fix, if you sort the statistics by points, he is on page 6. He's currently tied on points since game week 5 with Nick Pope and Fabio Carvalho.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, you have. 15 shots.
Wow.
15 shots for Haaland since game week 5, which is second most for forwards. It's tied for 5th overall. So he's not number 1, but he's not.
That's a lot.
But
That's
he's
good.
He's not that far down.
Okay.
And that's despite a 0 this week. So 0 shots. He still is second among forwards since game week 5 for shots.
Justified.
He's got 9 shots on target, which is number 1 for forwards. He's got 2 big chances. That's obviously less than 8. And most of the league has had 2 big chances in the last 4 game weeks. His XG significantly lower, 1.22. Yeah. He's had 30 touches in the opposition box. That's number 1 overall for forwards. Despite only having 3 touches in the opposition box this week against Wolves, he still is the number 1 box toucher for forwards.
Touchy.
The only thing that's very obvious as far as differences go between game weeks 1 through 4 and game weeks 5 through 8, something significant happened to Manchester City's starting lineup and starting in game week 5, and there is no timetable for the return of that significant thing coming back again, as we just learned yesterday or whatever. So if you see De Bruyne as essential to the success of Erling Haaland, then you move Haaland on until you get any indication that De Bruyne is healthy again.
Wow.
If you want to see it that way and just say he had an XG over 4, 8 big chances, and was destroying the league for the first 4 game weeks while De Bruyne was fit, now De Bruyne's not fit and Haaland is tied on points with Nick Pope.
Wow.
Then if that's your metric, then obviously sell him.
What do you think?
You're keeping him or selling?
Because those stats are damning. It's tough to argue a case to keep him this point other than I'm scared.
This week, Savinho, Gundogan, and Bernardo Silva had a combined 54 touches in the Wolves box. Do you know who takes Manchester City's penalties? Is it Haaland? I don't think that... I know. I'm just saying, that's not changing. So, Jeremy Doku is still dangerous.
Terrible. Terrible.
Part
of the problem was they switched flanks on him, and he was not effective on the right. That's not his fault. But he's not been useful.
Yeah, I guess what I'm thinking is, I'm not advocating that it's you
Grealish
absolutely...
looked good on the left. Just saying
he
that.
has looked.
And honestly,
he's been very good.
If Grealish comes in, I honestly think that it makes Haaland more useful because Grealish actually goes to the byline and then tries to bring it into the 6.
Yeah, the worst
and push the ball across the face of the goal.
The worst thing,
which is where Haaland is.
Yeah, the worst thing about Doku is just his accuracy.
So
he has been poor at crosses, poor at making the final decision. That can get better. I mean, he doesn't have to stay bad forever. Right. It's just, he's obviously a developing player. And the other new guys, like Bernardo Silva's played with Haaland for a long time. Grealish is better for Haaland.
How about that cut on his forehead because he got kicked by Foden? That was something else.
So, the schedule, that's what I said. I think you're still looking at an extremely green schedule. I would be more concerned about them. They probably should have lost.
Is it extremely green? Southampton, Bournemouth, Brighton, Tottenham, Liverpool, Forest, like that's not extreme. I mean,
Southampton, Bournemouth, Brighton, Spurs, all extremely green for their attackers. Those are green attack. Those are all. They should not be gray or red. At worst, it's bad for their defense and for Ederson. Every game is bad for their defense and Ederson. And the only reason why that Gvardiol is even in a consideration for you is that he keeps scoring the most ridiculous goals that anyone's ever seen.
Sure.
And
Trent doesn't. Sorry, just want to throw something in there.
Wow, that is unnecessary
But
and
true.
hateful.
But true.
I didn't hear anything.
All true.
No, I'm not worried about them attacking wise. Like if Southampton is just going to pack it in and Bournemouth is just going to pack it in and it's just going to be counterattacking for the next 3 weeks.
Could be.
Spurs never play them like that. Spurs have
They will not.
Ange will
just
never
on principle,
play
they will not.
that way ever.
Nope.
And Spurs can easily.
And Brighton won't either.
I wouldn't think so.
Honestly, we don't know.
But they did do that against
yeah,
Newcastle.
Yeah,
Newcastle really smothered them, and
fair.
they got Welbeck's goal was their only shot on
Right.
target. I think that might have been their only touch in the box for that game.
Weird.
But Liverpool, I mean, who knows? Who knows what kind of cagey affair that's going to be? Nottingham Forest, we keep saying Nottingham Forest has been one of the top 5 defensive teams for the season. So, yeah, home against Nottingham Forest, that could be an actually tough game. So maybe they're 13-14 back-to-back.
Yeah.
You're just not nearly as worried about their in-between schedule. Like the Champions League schedule for them is not, I don't think, is as grueling as it is for Liverpool.
They don't have to travel very far.
Also, Liverpool's going, before that, it's Southampton, Madrid, Manchester City. So
very green.
Yeah. So, I mean, they'll be 4 days removed from whatever game. It is a home game, but it'll be 3 or 4 days removed from a game.
Liverpool looks like a very difficult justification for someone like Trent. You mentioned Trent earlier.
Damn.
That seems to be not necessarily trendy, but something that people are doing, moving off of Trent.
He's 4th most transfer out.
Hey, so maybe it is trendy.
I own Konate. I only suggested
Konate, a top transfer in for defenders.
Yeah.
I'm only
Trent
suggesting
Trent has
because
not
of Trent's
been
price. That's the only
his
reason
price
why.
is high. He's not been as
He's not getting you
influential.
offensive returns.
Agree. Yeah.
So you're way overpaying for a guy who's not bringing offensive returns, and that's what you're paying him to do by owning him, and he's not doing
the
that.
The good news is that yes, you are paying him to do offensive returns, but he has been getting you defensive returns as well.
But he's not greatly outscoring what his value is. Don't make me go pounds per.
Yep.
Don't go crazy with no returns. He's gone 11-1-8-2 in his last 4 games. I think 32 points or 20. I can't do the math on it.
I can't either. So
22
keep going.
points in 4 games is pretty good. I get it. It's not. It might not be 7.1 good, but still, I mean, it's not like he's doing nothing. In the last 4
So
games.
I respect your opinion on that. Although I don't know that I'm going to sell just simply because I got other fires to put out. But that I don't blame the people moving from Trent to Konate. I don't think that's a bad move.
All right.
So that's good. All right.
Are you buying Konate for? Are you buying him for clean sheets?
We have to, because he's not useful for anything else.
He's got him.
You have to.
But when he gets him, Trent gets him.
I know, but
it's about money.
It's a $2.
It's really about money. That's what it comes down to. He's enabling.
Sure, but I guess if that's your move, I mean, to me, that's I guess if you need that money to move from someone else important, sure.
It almost is enough money to go from Saka to Salah.
Yeah.
Almost.
100%. It's got to be an enabling move.
It's not that far off.
I don't see the benefit personally, but I understand the benefit if you're enabling for something else. That's all I'm saying. I hear that. That makes sense. And again, simply because his offensive returns have not been astronomical, but as he showed on the international break, he's still dangerous from set pieces, and they're going to get him. They're going to get him.
Let's say you own Saka and you own Haaland. You don't own Salah. Okay, but you also own Trent. You sell Trent for a Michael Keane or another lower budgeted whatever. that's been scoring decently of late and has a good schedule. Now all of a sudden you turn Saka into Salah.
He's not a must-own based on what he's been doing. You're right. His points have been fine, but he's hit or miss. When he hits hard. When he misses hard. So I'm fine. I'm fine with him.
We
not
talked
being
about
a
it last
staple of the
week.
team.
I mean, he played 80 minutes against Chelsea this week. Trent did. I feel like that might even be high compared to what he may play in this again.
Yeah.
We talked about how difficult the schedule is upcoming for them.
I see them protecting him continuously.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess
he's got 1 assist. We talk about it, through 8 games, he's got 1 assist.
Right, and we've also talked about that a lot, that he's had way more big chances created than almost any other defender except Leif Davis. So the fact that he hasn't gotten the attacking returns is a near miracle. But that was what we said last week.
Near miracle, so 1 assist,
right.
But you also have to remember he's also got 5 clean sheets, which is more valuable, truthfully. So I'm not there, but that's why I think I'm open to moving to someone like a Konate at that stage. So just it's worth mentioning.
I just think this is they've had a very good run. They are now entering the most difficult part of the season that they've experienced so far.
Yeah.
Like you see, I mean, the one loss they have is after an international break. They are about to go on another international break here in 3 weeks, like everybody else.
And they'll probably lose again.
And I'm saying in the meantime, they are now playing teams that are significantly more difficult than they had prior to this. Like,
True.
You're just hoping that they maintain the clean sheet defensive form, and you can go back and look, like every game. Like there's always a game where, like the Bournemouth game, they had extremely close goal. Bournemouth scores first in that game.
Yeah.
Semenyo is a centimeter offside, so a goal rolled out offside. You have a second almost goal that deflected, off of Trent. We talked about that. Almost an own goal on Trent in a game. One of the last times he did get an attacking return. So like, it's so close to them losing clean sheets to people who get big returns, like that we talked. That was the thing with Trent, is that he had an assist in that game, got bonus points that was like like a centimeter, and I think a Kelleher save away.
Fine
from him
margins
losing
across the board,
right? So I'm just saying, like, I don't know, like, I understand the move to Konate on money grounds. I guess I'm just not. It to me feels a little bit less risky than moving to an Arsenal defender right now.
Sure.
Just because Liverpool's been the best.
Yep.
Clearly the best team in the league. Surely no one
I can only agree
derail
with
their
you.
season.
Absolutely,
absolutely.
fair. It's absolutely fair.
This guy. All right. You wanted to talk about Jimenez.
We're talking about him again because he scored again. Could have had a bigger week this week than he did. He had 3 big chances, which was the number one of anyone this week. So it goes for a goal, just the 1 bonus point in a 3-1 loss.
Pointed in 5 straight matches.
Right. He's returned in every game that he's started. So as I said last week, I should have just put him in there. I don't know why I didn't. It would have been Havertz would have been my. If I was going to sell one between Solanke and Havertz, I would have sold Havertz, and because it's more money, and I would have been able to shuffle some more money around.
Yeah.
But also, I would just say,
if I bring in Raul now, do you think it's too late?
No.
What's his fixture list?
We talked about it last week. Find me a bad run other than I think
Everton, Brentford, Crystal
Find me a
Palace,
bad part
Wolves,
of their schedule
Tottenham, Brighton
until March. Not by the end of the calendar year. I'm saying, where is Fulham's? They have 2 games. I think they play Arsenal and Liverpool back to back.
December 7th.
Right.
And then
other than that, I'm saying Fulham's schedule is almost as much set and forget until spring as there is in the for anyone. Jimenez, look, form is going to fade in and out. He's not going to score every single week all the time. Andreas Pereira took probably the most pathetic penalty kick that you could possibly take this week. Emiliano Martinez, the number 1 goalkeeper transfer in for the game week because of a penalty save. Aston Villa did not keep a clean sheet in that game, by the way. which they probably never will. I don't see how they ever will. They're horrible defensively for some reason.
That's what they get for selling Alex Moreno.
Moreno played. Oh no, Moreno played for Nottingham Forest. Moreno had a foul.
I was worried about
you
you there for a second.
Yeah. No.
Did you see the blank look at my face, or I was like, "Oh crap, what does he think is happening?"
No.
Okay.
I just had the memory of Alex Moreno having a foul throw in this game week, which was really
awesome.
Also pathetic, and didn't get called as a foul throw.
They never do.
Andreas Pereira. Weak penalty kick, saved easily by Emiliano Martinez. Someone else is going to be taking penalties for Fulham.
Raul.
The oiliest rank winger.
Raul.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
I would imagine it's probably Raul Jimenez, who has...
Or Smith Rowe.
Yeah. Who...
Hasn't he taken one?
I don't know.
That's probably Raul. I mean, why not have your striker take him?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Generally, it's your striker.
Either way, even if he doesn't, I wouldn't care. He's still 5.7 out of all of those guys. So like all of the low, I mean, most of them are low owned, mostly for price purposes. I think everyone's again gone out of their way to have Haaland and Havertz and Solanke or Watkins, like some variation of heavy hitters. And Chris Wood has been the very popular third forward choice, rightfully so. I just think, excuse me, I just think all of those forwards that are heavy transfers in this week, Danny Welbeck scored again. It will not stop this season.
Although he might be injured now.
He's yellow triangled.
Yeah, he went off the pitch in a stretcher.
Against... Oh, I mean, it's only a yellow triangle, though. He's probably
back
fine.
Injury, they say. Also,
really
Raul
freaky.
is the second listed.
He's going up for a header.
Yeah.
The defender comes up behind him, and oftentimes they'll run into each other. They didn't run into each other. It's not like he really shoved his forearm into his back. They ran into each other. Didn't seem like they ran into each other that hard. Welbeck comes down almost in a non-contact injury with his back, and they carried him off in a stretcher.
He is an old man.
He is not Mr. Durable. And that's why if you can't walk off the pitch and a low contact, I think he's out for a while.
He is
my point. Regardless of what that triangle says.
Okay.
He is a...
I love Danny Welbeck.
Old 33.
I love Danny Welbeck. I loved him when he played for Arsenal. I liked him even when he played for United. But
nah.
He's not a recover and I'll be next week back.
Yeah, it seems like he probably isn't.
And
back
he's now
yeah.
an older gent.
33.
In the football world, that's
33. That was a good year, wasn't it?
33. That was a good year. Yeah, he's an old gent. Yeah, have you even made it to 33 yet? I'm kidding.
Come on, I got white hairs in here somewhere.
Maybe bunch of blonde hairs. All right. So I don't want to rank, Brian. What's your top 4 budget forwards? And I want you to rank them. Like who would you bring in?
I still would go Raul.
Raul's number 1
first.
for me.
Look, Chris Wood. He's got goals in 3 of the last 4. He's got goals in all but 3 games this season. We talked about him last week. Just that he seems like he's. Even in games where he's only scored 1, it feels like he should have had more.
It's fair.
So seems like he's just going to keep getting 1. But I don't know. Maybe one of these days he gets 2. I'm just saying.
Would you rather have Chris Wood or Kai Havertz? Because the price difference is immense.
It's massive.
Who do you have more optimism about right this second, Nottingham Forest or Arsenal? The fact that I can even ask that question and you might think about it for a second.
That's wild. So Forest has Leicester, West Ham, Newcastle,
Saka and
Arsenal,
Odegaard are on
Ipswich.
the pitch. I mean, you had a good point earlier. Or maybe you were copying someone else's point. I can't remember. You might have been quoting someone.
Flapjack.
But does Havertz's value diminish if Saka is not on the pitch? That's a really great question.
What are they going to ask him to do? They're going to ask him to do more.
Yeah.
Well, so in today's match, Havertz started center forward. Jesus, this is in the Champions League match, started as right winger in Saka's place. Trossard was playing the 10.
Okay.
It was Martinelli, Havertz, Jesus across the top. Partey,
I'm doing that from
Rice,
now on.
and Trossard
my
in the
thing.
midfield.
I just don't think you have the. I mean, do you have the creativity to allow for what you were kind of running at the beginning of the season? It just if they're.
If Odegaard's on the pitch, it hurts.
So you got at least the international break. Probably he
Right.
might make it back before the international
It says
break.
2 match weeks, right?
Right. So
Something like
it
that.
feels like if you were selling Havertz, it's a temporary thing. Also, you're hedging against, I guess, this, it is a trickier, like actually closer to red fixtures, at least for the next 3 weeks.
Well, so his question is Wood or Havertz, but you just made a case earlier about Fulham having like basically fields of green.
Raul is temporarily
Forever.
in my lineup
So
at the
the
moment.
question is
I'm
really
saying-
more so a matter of Raul or Havertz,
Saying
not Wood or Havertz.
your first red fixture is in game week 13 at Spurs.
All right,
I
so
say
Raul Wood,
permanently Spurs, not red. That is not
Welbeck
red
when he
for
comes
attack.
back. Raul Wood, Welbeck when he comes back, right?
Well, Welbeck's not coming back for a while.
No, I think
telling you
serious.
he's not.
You'd have to seriously.
there?
He's
You'd
not
have to have
coming
a serious consideration
Delap.
about whether or not to have to put Chris Wood in there as second.
Okay.
I would say
Strand Larson?
The person I had made the case for prior to this was Cunha. FPL Black Wolf, if you want to go find him,
On X.
find him on X. A really reliable Wolves fan. You can go find his thread on Wolves assets, his top 3, his in recommended order from FPL Black Wolf: 1, Cunha; 2, 8 Nori; 3, Strand Larson. He's not
Really?
saying don't buy Strand Larson. That Strand Larson has outscored Cunha on the season.
Yeah.
Of course, Cunha did not.
Man, their schedule looks great.
He did not start the first 2 weeks. Cunha's been very good. Strand Larson scored this week. Basically, the Black Wolf's point is that Cunha he's a talisman. He's likely on penalties, more opportunities, more route to points.
Okay.
Basically.
Okay.
Than
Yeah, and that
Strand
makes
Larson.
sense.
But Strand Larson is $1 cheaper, so it's again another guy that's not like a crazy pick. Vardy scored again this week, reminding everybody what happens for penalty takers. Jamie Vardy. It's not crazy.
No, it's crazy.
Not.
What is he, 45?
It's not crazy.
He's 45, right?
He's
got to be.
He's old, man. He's like 38, 39. Still getting it done.
We need to know.
All right.
Let's
It
find
would
out.
probably be some order like
37. He's 37. That's too old.
For me, it's Raul 1, and then there's a gap. And then it's the other guys. And so I should have just, again...
Raul, Chris Wood.
I should have just done it last week. Chris Wood, I think, yeah, of course. You can't argue with his actual production.
Yeah.
I would say Raul, Chris Wood, Strand Larson.
You'd go Strand Larson?
Cunha, and then Strand Larson.
Look at their schedule. No, I would go Strand Larson before Cunha.
Their schedule is great.
And if you've looked at the reason why they're at the bottom of the table, look at their past schedule.
Yeah.
First 8 games. They played the top 6 teams already. So,
and they played City tough.
Yeah. I'm just telling you.
Johan Wissa played 24 minutes off the bench this week. I think back sooner than I was expecting to see him,
same.
but whatever. Just as a reminder, he went 11, 2, 8, and 7 in the first 4 game weeks for Brentford. Then has been out injured for 3 weeks. So back 24 minutes off the bench.
And they have another good schedule too. Ipswich,
Right.
Fulham, Bournemouth,
Vissa
Everton,
is what price?
Leicester.
He's 5'9", so he still is under 6.
okay.
With
I'd
least
love to see him score Ipswich at home, and then I would definitely consider bringing him back in.
Ryan, you want to mention Njai here for Everton or no?
No,
Okay, because I don't think he makes the cut.
he does not.
No, but
There's too many others.
so many people, so many. I would think he's still in less than 7%, but it's down. Is he less than 10? Calvert-Lewin, where's Calvert-Lewin? I think he's
gotta
less
be
than
less.
10%.
Gotta be.
But Calvert-Lewin had been a pick for I think a lot of people based on
6.
He's at 6% based on
that's
schedule.
6% too much.
But Njai is the one who has scored more recently.
Njai 1.3%.
Right. I don't have the numbers on it. Calvert-Lewin's numbers weren't great anyway. It was a penalty taker.
We shouldn't have even mentioned him.
Why not? He's a penalty taker for Everton.
Calvert-Lewin is not good this year.
Stop talking about Everton. Talk more about Tottenham so Matt gets happy.
They are bad.
They are bad.
No,
I would love to see them get relegated this year. They're not
Calvert-Lewin
going to.
had 2
They're
games.
good,
I'll give you that.
No, that's why we said. Like, I think
too good for that, but still.
No.
All right. What do you got to close out? Because we got
league update.
We've been talking for too long.
I want to go over captains for this next week.
Yeah.
Captains, and then we'll do a league update.
Oh, man.
Do you have anything you want to close out? Because you always have something that you want to talk about that we didn't get to.
No.
All right,
I mean,
good.
I'm sure.
Home to Southampton. There's no way.
There'll be other episodes.
Is Jota injured?
Yes.
That's a good question.
Yes,
he did not make the team today.
If you were thinking of moving from Diaz to Jota, don't move from Diaz to somebody else. Don't.
No, we barely talked about your team.
We don't need to.
I'm
it's
just
not
saying
important.
that Salah had a goal and an assist. It was a penalty.
Oh,
but
you should own Salah.
But on a low, not a great amount of attempts and a low XG this week for Salah. Doesn't matter. He still finishes with a goal and an assist. Anybody who captained him.
Should have been like 4 penalties anyways, right? Like
right.
In the game, there should have been 4.
But I feel like this is what we talked about weeks ago, is like he's the only reliable person. Is there anyone not named Salah or a defender that you should put in your team is specifically the question I asked, and the answer to that is now a resounding no. Diaz benched again.
Yeah. Well, Diaz was benched not because of form, but because of travel from coming back from international break.
But he wasn't the last international break.
True. Yeah, that's just rotation. True. It's just how it is. It's just how it is.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like now, if Jota's injured,
he's definitely injured. But here's the thing: Gakpo looked pretty good. So Diaz, they're not going to rush Diaz back onto the left because there's no reason to. So if Diaz isn't coming on and being productive, Gakpo will play. Because Gakpo is more useful coming back on recovery runs and winning the ball than Diaz is. Diaz seems to be more dangerous going forward, but honestly, it's kind of a toss-up. So all that to say, I don't think Diaz is a shoo-in. I understand why people are moving off of him. I probably should. I still own him. But again, I just have other fires. It's not because I want him.
Well, now you're going to get your dream front line of Darwin, Gakpo, Salah.
Look, Darwin looked like a freaking beast coming off the bench
against Chelsea.
Does.
Well, you can't open
absolute
with that.
monster.
He
an
always
absolute monster off
looks
the ball.
like that.
He was great in hold up play. I was really impressed. I think that might have been one of the best games I've seen him play.
Darwin does everything well but score.
Yeah,
like he should. He scores. He just doesn't score like he should.
He didn't do anything wrong though.
I know
against Chelsea.
I like him as a player. I'm not necessarily talking trash. It's just
and he was fighting with people, which is always entertaining.
He's not scared to do that.
I love it.
All right, your manager and Darwin giving everyone.
I'm going to go ahead and just go on a limb and say there's no way any of you are not captaining Haaland home to Southampton.
I thought about moving it, and then I saw home to Southampton, and I decided to leave it. You?
There's no way. In fact, I would argue this is a way better option to triple captain as opposed to last week. I'm not going to do it.
Well,
I'm not going to do it.
City's last 3 against Southampton were a 4-1, a 4-0, and a 1-1. Obviously, the 4-1s, 4-0 were wins.
Okay.
The 1-1 was a draw. But the last 3 have been pretty heavily in their favor.
I'd say Haaland gets a minimum 2 goals this week.
I would be happy if he got 1 for once.
Ryan, you going to captain him? Are you going to be?
Is he still going to be in your team?
Are you going to be bold?
He's definitely going to stay in my team. The
Are you going to be bold?
No, because I don't like the other options. That's the thing.
All right, fine. That's fine.
So triple captain Cunha for Brian.
Look, if you had Salah, or I mean, even though it's a depleted Arsenal team,
right? It's still not.
Are you captaining?
No, you're not
Salah
captaining Salah. No.
And Blamo against Ipswich.
Not a bad idea.
Just saying.
I don't hate that.
Palmer home to Newcastle.
Right. So that is one where you could.
It's Haaland. It's Haaland.
You could risk the
Yeah.
Cole Palmer pick. His numbers have not been horrible, the underlying numbers, and it's also Cole Palmer, also penalty taker Cole Palmer.
I mean, it was 4 out of 5 games, and then this past week against against
did
Liverpool.
we settle
so.
that bet? The Cole Palmer.
No, that's right. You never revisited that.
The Cole
We
Palmer.
never revisited it, but I think it was pretty clear that Brian won, right?
Brian,
Because
the bet was
Dave just assumed that he was going to stay cold. He did not.
he did not stay cold.
It was a simple.
Was it a 1 week thing against Liverpool?
It was a
7 and 8, match week 7 and 8. You had the 0.5 over.
I took
Brian
the
had
under.
the 0.5 under. He did not score at all,
Yeah, I took the under on 0.5.
Got an assist,
which is
and he should have scored
disappointing.
against Cells.
Should have scored a lot. I did not.
I know.
So Brian is a genius.
As
Dave,
usual, he is beating me.
Yikes.
No,
Do better next time.
Do better.
Well, you got two others.
All right, very good.
The transfer for me, it was more of a transfer headache.
Okay.
Because I have multiple.
Do you know which transfer you're going to go with quickly?
I would love to move Gabriel on, and I think
Are you going to?
I have the issue of I would rather have Guardiol in my team, especially in my defense. But I am maxed out on Manchester City players with Haaland, Foden, and Rico Lewis. And now I'm rethinking having Rico Lewis, not rethinking having Foden, not rethinking having Haaland.
Interesting.
So it would be I would have to move Rico Lewis. I would love to move Gabriel. I did consider a hit this week, despite
You're crazy.
despite everything.
Is Foden going to be playing enough minutes? He
Dave,
subbed on against Wolves. He did start against Fulham.
he did sub on. Dave, I'm glad you did that. Perfect segue to one of my favorite tweets of the week from Bullet at Move78FPL on X. To be fair, I think Foden definitely starts the next game, having only started once since May. If not then, definitely the game after. And if not then, definitely the game after that or the next one.
Perfect.
Alex, come back.
I love the sarcasm.
Alex, come back, please.
I love the sarcasm.
I miss Alex. I do miss Alex.
So you're not starting him,
Who?
Foden.
No, of course I'm starting him.
Because if not this match, then the next one.
Because if not this,
He is starting or
because
not?
if not this match week, then
maybe
next.
the next one.
Okay.
He started against Fulham.
Sounds a lot like
Yeah, but not against
Michael Owen.
not against Wolves.
doing commentary.
I mean,
All right.
What else am I gonna
so
do?
what did we decide? So captain,
Foden
who's your
for
captain?
Saka. That's
who's
my
your
point.
captain?
Like, so if Saka's not going to play, Foden might be starting against Southampton, but we don't know if he's starting.
right.
I don't know anything.
But I would say too, I still have like I think I have 1.2 in the bank.
Okay.
No, we thought we were talking about transfers. I mean, we don't have to talk about it. I'm just saying that was my issue is transfer headaches and captains.
Yes.
But I'm saying like Son, if you wanted to
Yes.
go at Crystal Palace and people who captained Son this week made a really smart move. So I could go
Right.
Foden to Son if I wanted to and just make one transfer.
Interesting.
So I'm just saying like there's
Wait, how many do you have this week?
2.
You used
I had
2 last
4
week?
last
Yeah.
week.
Okay.
I used 3
I remembered.
with my extra transfer. Now I have
Got
2
another one.
transfers
I
still.
see.
Gotcha.
I see.
Fast-
See what you did
fast
there.
math
I see
there.
what you did there.
Fast math. All right. Travis, any transfers you making this
Oh
week?
yeah, something.
Because Brian does.
My defense sucks.
He talked about what he's gonna. He doesn't know actually what he's gonna do.
I
yet,
love-
which is
I don't know what I'm
okay.
I love.
I don't know how to do it.
If I make one move, my one move very well might be Bournemouth midfielder out,
Semenyo.
Garnacho
Drew
in.
Garnacho.
Okay.
That is
good
to me.
suggestion.
That might be a one move. I save a transfer anyway. You know, I have other moves I'd like to make, but
Yeah.
I feel like that would give me the opportunity also to bench Havertz. I could bench
Okay.
Havertz and play a 3-5-2 with Garnacho as my basically as my
Interesting.
fourth, fifth midfielder, depending on how you view
Okay.
Morgan
Okay.
Rodgers.
All right. Travis.
Who's hot? We haven't talked about hot commodities.
Super
he went
hot.
up. He's
Super hot.
He's
commodity.
actually starting to convert on the numbers,
I know.
which is great. Good to see.
aren't
'Cause
you glad we
we said it's only a matter of time. That time is now.
Aren't you glad we talked you into getting Morgan Rodgers and getting
You did, but
Onana?
you
still own him.
You got him.
Right.
Good job.
All right.
Yes, Haaland. Yes, Haaland.
Yes, Holland.
somebody great.
Transfers, I have 2. I might be doing.
I also have
these.
2.
The Raya out, sells in, dead striker out, Raul in.
Tell the world, though, as a Liverpool
That's what
person,
I'm probably going to do.
If you're wild carding, you're making your team right now.
Who still has their wild card at this point?
Lots of people.
With all these terrible weeks, people aren't freaking out and just using them?
If you're picking one, though, are you picking Salah right now?
100% has to be.
And not picking Haaland? Like, if you're picking one or the other,
I like this.
it's Salah, not Haaland.
It's got to be.
Okay.
It has to be. Yes.
I don't think it's that clear.
I honestly think it's more clear now than it ever has been in the entirety of the season. Not to say that it is clear, but it is more clear now than it has ever been.
It's tough to argue that with the Haaland's 3 blanks in a row.
But that's my point, though, right? That's exactly the point. Is it
Haaland's
because of Haaland's 3 blanks? It is more clear now than it has been all season.
Maybe
because Salah has continued to produce. Because of penalties mostly, but still. I think it's Salah. All right, let's talk about
that's a tough one.
That is a difficult one. I'll give you that. But again, it's easy for me to say that because I can say whatever I want. All right, league update. Do you want me to do it? Yeah, you need to do it because my pronunciation is terrible.
All right, here we clicked wrong league. Let's go. Let's do this.
We did have a change at the top.
Change at the top. Ciao Mazzio is now the league leader. League Brett with Brett's Ballers is in second place with a 512. Mazzio is leading the league with a 524. Great scores. Mike Craw, League Mike, sorry about that, Mike. Haven't Jota Clue.
Yes.
Is in third place with 509. And then our own mini league representative, League Andrew, with Arnold Palmer with a 503 in fourth place, and then League Glenn.
Good job, Andrew.
SOL FC
70
and then
points.
A
League
little
Glenn, way to go!
Emoji like someone doing a shrug.
Wait, League Glenn
70 this
scored a
week.
70?
70 this week. Travis, give us his point total. How did he get to a 70 this week?
Cells in the back. Mikolenko actually played. Konate, Lewis, Rogers, Salah captain, and Mbuemo.
There you go.
Jota, Nico Jackson, Watkins, Havertz. Way to go.
Team.
Way to go. That's a great team.
And it's
That's
live
the thing.
because he's got Timber benched and Saka benched.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, I mean, that's a
Love
live team. That's a bold
Good job.
move. That's solid. It can be done, Brian, as you always say, without Haaland.
But see, this is why, though.
But
no, this is why. Maybe more than in any season I can remember, at least in the last few years, like sticking with the template has been a disaster this season.
Yeah.
Staying with the AI recommended team would put you in about 5 millionth so far this season.
There's no doubt about it.
Like the number of times
completely.
where you could have gone way off script and benefited enormously, especially in a week where you captained, like world number 1, Captain Foden this week.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know about how bad of a week this was. He's still world number 1, captaining Phil Foden, and does not own Haaland. Like the ways that you can play it are many and varied, and to me, please keep doing that. I love that people have teams that are weird.
Speaking of weird
especially in our
teams, we blew up League Billy a couple weeks ago. He is in 6th place. It bears noting. Honorable mention, a 50
That's
this
not bad.
week.
That's
He's
a
knocking on the
pretty
door of
good
the top
score.
5.
pretty good. He had Michael Keane.
Good for him. Because he had some pretty trash weeks in the back.
I know. He's been clawing back over the last couple. You're right. You're right. We have given him some grief.
Get him, Billy.
Go.
All right. That's my last cough of the pod. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week, barring catastrophe. And
we'll talk about some more middle school basketball.
Golf. We will come back and talk pickleball, golf, or middle school basketball, or more Arsenal, more things that apply to me and no one else. For the FPL America podcast, this is David Smith. Until next time.